Hello and welcome to Mouses Makes episode 57. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse, and this is Miss Poppy, who is really just staring out the window. If you've been here before, you may see there have been some changes in the background. Miss Poppy has a beautiful bed. She used to sleep in this basket before we decorated, and then when I got this chair and we put the blind up, there wasn't room for it on. There wasn't room for it on the windowsill. So she's been sleeping in her interim basket while we made this one fit. Oh, she's purring now. So now she has a lovely basket from which to ignore you and me even better. Right then, buckle up, buttercups. There's some things to see. First of all, and you may have noticed, I've finished my Vincas. And it's showing my very ugly, stretchy bra thing. Okay. This is the Vincas by Barocco. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. If you can go to it via Ravelry, or you can go straight to Barocco and search their free patterns and you will find it. I've knit it not in their brand yarn. I've knit it in Stylecraft Linen Jape in Eggplant. I'm having a bit of trouble with the neckline. I think I've got to run a line of single crochet around it just to like stiffen it up a little bit. I've knit with linen drape before and I know it does stretch, and I took that into account when I made the top. I made size 50, but I wanted it quite baggy. As you can see, there's a fair amount of excess fabric. It is far too warm to wear today. Here in Somerset, last week we were still wearing our winter woolies, and today it's nuclear. Well, it started yesterday. In fact, I've burnt my shoulders just putting the washing on the line yesterday because I am not really designed for the sun. Going straight off topic. Yes, it was quite enjoyable to knit. Because I'd used a different yarn, I was knitting away through all the sections. It tells you which sections you need to knit, and to a particular distance. And I thought, oh, I'll just have a measure, and I was already past the distance that I needed to knit. So I didn't complete all the sections because I needed to finish it a little bit shorter than the pattern suggested. I'm going to just tip you down a little bit so you can see her. Oh. Look at her there. She's giving off an air of anger. I don't know what I've done. Yes, so I'm going to stand up and let you see it, and then I'm going to change because I am melting. Actually, before I do that, oh gosh, I didn't use the stated yarn, and this yarn is very heavy. It's 187 meters to 100 gram ball, so it's quite a heavy yarn. But because the meterage is quite short, I used 505 grams for the size 50-inch bust. But let me see if I can stand up and show you. I'm just going to pause a second. Right, I can't get my head in as well. I'm sorry if you were lip reading. So as you can see, it's come out quite long, and that's without me doing it to the full length that the pattern suggested. And then when blocking, it has grown about an inch. So if I come a bit closer so you can see the pattern. I am pleased with it, but I am going to change it now because I'm melting. Oh, that is so much better. Apologies for all the little bits of purple fluff that are now all over me. I was so hot, I just stripped off my top and I've got the blind up. The world and his wife could be watching me undress. I was too hot to care. I didn't even think about it. It was just like, whoosh, clothes off. Okay. Not one finished object. Here's another. This one is the Round and Round Cowl by Kay Litton, or the Crazy Sock Lady. I have blocked it out rather oddly. I've blocked it into a sort of an hourglass shape, I suppose. I don't know why, I just felt like it. Let me put it on. I'm going to regret this. All these woolly things. This was not the day. Okay. I had intended to use up the whole ball. Maybe stretch that a bit much. I might have to reblock the top there. I'd been going to use the whole ball of this, which is, now let me think about this because I've lost the ball band. Joanna Wood paint, hand dyed, Kandinsky, which I presume is the base, in Serral Circles, which I presume is the colourway. So I'd been going to use the whole ball. Where's the pattern? Hang on. As it is, I used 52 grams and thought it's going to be twice this length, and I think that's going to be too much. So I stopped. I think I've got to reblock it really, haven't I? Because I've made the, I think that was the cast off edge. I've made it a bit floppy, unless I put it on the other way around. I'm not going to do that now. I am literally melting. I don't do hot weather really. I love the sun. Sun doesn't love me awfully much. Don't know if you can see. That's the least bad one. The other one's a bit worse, but it's in shadow. But I cannot do hot. And particularly since I got this problem with my kidneys, it makes me sweat, and that means I have to drink even more. And I'm already storing it. I can feel what looks like a double chin. I can pinch it and it stays where I, that's fluid, and around my jawline. And by bedtime it'll be up around here as well as all the other places it's storing it. So it's just not very comfortable. Right, grumbling over, back to knitting. So the other yarn that I used to sort of top and tail it, I don't think I've done the same number of rows, top and bottom. I did that last time I made a cowl. I did 2x2 rib in the beginning and then finished it off with 1x1. I can't be trusted. Right, I top and tailed it with Drops Alpaca in, what is this, 2925, which was some that I had left over from a shawl that I test crocheted for Alex of My Yarny Corner end of last year, I think. So yeah, I just used that up. 2 finished objects. What more can she have to show us, you're thinking? What about a third? Wait for this. Wait for this while I try and find my way through it. I finished the Exordium shawl by Rebecca Picot, and I think it's one of my favourite things that I have ever made. I don't know if I can get it all in. The yarn I used is Ducky Darlings. Both yarns are Ducky Darlings. The darker shade is Brew, and I used about 70 grams of that. It's superwash merino and nylon, and it's beautiful. That was a Christmas present, I'm sure, from Peter and Lauren. And the other colour I used was Lamb Lotto, and I used about 83 grams of this. Just has that little nugget left. Oh, I love Hayley's yarns, and I've yet to have a colour from her that I haven't loved every bit as much as I thought I would. Lamb Lotto, I think, was the first one I ever bought from her, and I started knitting a sockhead cowl, and then I was just bored. So I took it out, and then when I got the Brew for Christmas, and I saw that this shawl, I saw this shawl on Ruth Loves to Knit's podcast, and she had done it in blue and yellow for Ukraine, and I actually stopped watching the video to go and nab the pattern off Ravelry because I loved it so much. And so I wanted two contrasting yarns, and these obviously contrast, but they also kind of complement each other, because, and I don't know if you're going to see, because as usual the light is absolutely awful, all the coloured speckles, and then in the cream there is also all the coloured speckles. Mostly they're the same colours, although the cream does have this beautiful lime green chartreuse, which clearly I'm rather fond of. And it's gorgeous. And I have got a shawl pin I didn't think to get out to show you, and it's a carved wooden leaf with a, you know, an open centre, and then the pin goes through it. And I'd lost it, I'd never used it, and I lost it when we decorated the craft room just over a year ago, and I have been looking for it ever since. And when I finished this, I thought this really needs that shawl pin to go on it, because it would be perfect. And consequently, on Sunday, I turned my craft room upside down while I looked for the shawl pin in all the places that I'd already looked, but I actually managed to find it in the bottom drawer of the chest of drawers over there, and I swear I've looked in there. All that remains to be found now are some tiny little lobster claw hooks that I bought, lobster clasps, to make some, not ring binders, that's not the right word, brain, come on, progress keepers, not even close. And I lost them, and that was Hayley related as well, actually. I was sending her a bag and I was making her a stitch marker, and that was the last time I wonder if I posted them to I might have posted them to Hayley by accident. It's more likely I put them in the bin. But I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and collect my thoughts. I'd lost them, and I'd lost the little circles, the little rings as well. I found the little rings the other day in my sewing box. Found the missing shawl pin. I'm just still missing the little lobster clasps. I have confidence they'll turn up. I've got two of them now. So So yes, I am over the moon with this. I loved the pattern, I loved the yarn. It blocked out so beautifully. It's got really nice drape. The garter stitch really gives it the drape, and then there's this, I don't know how well it's showing up, this kind of star stitch business going on, and that was lacy and blocked out really nice. Where's the other bit? There we are. It's just a really, really nice pattern. Ruth is running at the moment now, not at the moment, I don't think it starts till the 1st of July. Can't remember, you'll have to have a look at Ruth's podcast or possibly her Instagram. But she is running with Fernanda from Little Monkeys and Me. She's running another shawl make along this summer. So yeah, I can't enter it because I finished it too soon. But I needed to finish it because of the cast on party, which is coming up in a week and a half. And I still have an Aran sweater, a mohair sweater, a rocket tee and an Aran weight wrap to finish. I'm going to do my best. However, bearing that in mind, there was a shawl pattern came out last week, a mystery shawl along, and I'd been dithering for about 3 days about whether I was going to do it or not, because I really enjoyed the Stephen West one last autumn, and I thought, shall I or shan't I? And then, no, you've got all this stuff to finish. You want to do the cast on party. I've got to the point where I'm really fed up with all the stuff that I'm knitting and I want new stuff. So it's like, no, do not do it. You're tying yourself up for 5 weeks. That's going to be a big chunk of knitting time each week. Don't do it. And I didn't do it. I'm kind of enjoying it vicariously through Denise from Dear Designs and Caroline from Aria Bark, because they're doing it, and so I can look at theirs. And then I'm going to have to take this off now because I'm getting hot. And then, I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday last week, I was scrolling through Instagram like you do when you're trying to avoid doing stuff that you should be doing, and I saw a shawl, and then I read what was written underneath the shawl, and the designer was looking for test knitters, and the shawl was absolutely gorgeous. And while the angel on one shoulder was saying, no, don't even go there, you can't do it, you haven't got the time, you've got other things you need to be doing, do not go there. What did I do? While the angel on this shoulder was saying, don't do it, the devil on this shoulder was filling in the form and pressing send. So I applied to do the test knit and I was accepted. And I was very, very excited. And I've just realised something, but I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, what's that? I was accepted to test knit Penny Baker's new shawl, and it's called Femeren, which means fairy godmother. Apparently, the original Cinderella story was French. I did not know this. So, the test knit began on Monday, the 13th of June, and you've got until the 17th of July. The pattern is due to come out in August. She's got another one to come out before then, and then this one is sort of in the queue to come out in August. You were allowed to start early, but I didn't want to. A, because that's just me. If it says start on a particular date, that's when you start it. And B, because I had to go for a mammogram on Monday, and I thought, well, that'll be a little treat when I get back. So I cast on about 3:30, 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, day before yesterday. And then yesterday at around about tea time, I finished it. And I have blocked it. I have not sewn in the ends. That's what I noticed. I have yet to sew in the ends. Isn't it gorgeous? What attracted me, whoops, were these beautiful points down at the bottom. Here I go, overheating myself again, but it's for a good cause. So I knit this, and I know I'm told I'm quite a fast knitter, and I do spend a lot of time knitting. I knit this in a little over 24 hours, so about 11 hours actual knitting time. Let me tilt you down a bit so you can see. How gorgeous is it? With all the little points. It is deceptively simple to knit. It really is. I don't know if the camera's picked it up. Probably not, because it doesn't usually. Let me see. If I fold it, it might. No, I don't think so. It's sparkly yarn. But try as I might, took some photographs last night while it was blocking. In the electric light, the sparkles were stunning. Could not get it on camera. Tried video, tried, you know, ordinary picture, photograph. Jeez, I'm struggling today. Could not get the sparkles. Still can't get the sparkles. She recommends a sparkly yarn, but you don't have to use one. And the yarn that I used was actually, what have I done with it? Oh, see, I had it all ready with a progress keeper so that I could put that in after I'd shown it to you today, so that when I finished it, possibly next week, you'd be able to see where I'd been. But I didn't need it because I finished it. I knit it in West Yorkshire Spinners Silent Night. It's a one skein shawl. I used 87 grams of 100 grams to get a shawl this big. Just under 350 metres. I mean, just wow. I'm going to be knitting it again. It's a foregone conclusion. It is just, I mean, it's enjoyable to knit. It's quite a relaxing knit. You get quite a big shawl for a small amount of yarn. I don't see why you couldn't carry on knitting if you wanted it bigger. Maybe do the edging in a different colour. You know, it has possibilities. But the great thing about it is, if you suddenly realise you've forgotten a Christmas present for somebody, or darling child comes home from school and says, can we give Miss so-and-so something special when I leave at the end of the year? This is not going to take you very long to knit. I'd be surprised if you couldn't knock it out in a week or so, even if you only had a couple of hours, hour even in the evening to knit. I don't think this would take you very long at all. I'll be honest, a lot of the magic happens in the blocking. But the way that it's designed gives it enough give that you can block it out quite aggressively. I didn't make it as long as I could have done because I liked excuse me Oh gosh, that was an I know an old lady who swallowed a fly moment there. Yeah, I didn't block it out quite as long as I could have done because I like to leave this sort of curved edge on the end. But you can see it's still got a fair amount of stretch to go. Yeah. If you would like to know more about it, I will try and link Penny Baker's Instagram below, and then you can go and have a look and see her picture. I don't know if she might be starting to post other testers. I mean, I cannot get over the size of it for considerably less than 100 grams. I've not sewn in the ends, which is bothering me, but I mean, look, that's perfectly long enough to wear on a summer evening over your shoulders. I tend to wear them more like a scarf, but you could, couldn't you? It's well pretty, and it's well easy, and it uses such a small amount of yarn. I know a lot of shawls that are popular at the moment are at least 2 skeins, sometimes more. I know I'm ranting on about this a lot, but I've got another skein in there. I've got a skein from Alex at My Yarny Corner. I've got 2. I've got 2 skeins from Alex that I haven't known what to do with because they're both really special. I think there might be another 2 of these coming up soon then. And you know what? It just gave me a little bit of a break from finishing all the things that I'm fed up with. Kind of a palette cleanser, I suppose, knitting wise. I really love it. So, Femeren. I'm just showing off my French accent again now. I apologise to any French speakers out there. It's more than likely terrible. I've never been able to do the thing properly. My mum could. I cannot. I'm a great embarrassment to my family, I'm sure. Certainly my ancestors are probably all spinning in their graves. So, that's all the knitting I've been doing. I don't think it's bad. 4 finished objects. Admittedly, I still have 4 to go. I think I'm not going to pressure myself on the mohair sweater. I think I'm going to try and get the Rocket Tee off the needles next, and then the wrap and the other Aran sweater. It's not Aran as in cabled, it's just Aran weight. It's plain stocking stitch, so it knits up quickly. So I might get that done in time. But the mohair one, I don't want to rush. It's quite slow progress, but it's the sort of thing that's really nice to just sit and take your time over. In other words, I'm probably saying knit like most people do, rather than feverishly knitting things to have something finished to show on your podcast. And that I'm knitting for my Ukraine knit along, which doesn't finish until 31st of August. And right, let me talk about that now that I mentioned it. Okay, so knitting with Ukraine knit along. Make along. I keep saying knit along. It's a make along. You can knit, crochet, cross stitch, whatever. So long as what you're making is from a Ukrainian designer, you can enter whatever you like. All you have to do in order to enter, it's being run on Instagram. So you need to post pictures with the hashtag knitting with Ukraine. And you have to tag the designer in the picture. So at whatever the designer's Instagram name is. Now, here I have a bit of a plea for you. Can you please put that in the little blurb underneath your picture rather than tag the picture itself? Purely because it makes my life easier. When I'm going through and taking names to put into the prize draw, it's just quicker for me. You can enter anything. So bearing in mind we've mentioned cross stitch, pictures, bags, toys, garments, accessories, doesn't matter what it is, it just has to be by a Ukrainian designer. As I say, that runs until the 31st of August, so there's still 2.5 months to go. So if you've not found anything that you like yet, there's plenty of time. You don't have to buy a new pattern. If you do, obviously that's brilliant, because then as well as offering a bit of moral support, you're offering some financial support. But it can be a free pattern, it can be a pattern you've already got, doesn't matter. Oh, what else? If you can't use Instagram or haven't got Instagram, you can email me at mousesmakes@gmail.com. Send me a photograph, let me know who the designer is, and I will do the rest. I'll put it onto Instagram with your permission. If you would rather it didn't go onto Instagram, I'll just enter it anyway. And then I will make a post tagging all the designers so that they can see. Because that's really why you have to tag the designer, so that the designer gets a notification saying that someone's knitting one of their designs, and it just hopefully will give them a bit of a boost, because, well, I'm not going to go into why. Anything else? Enter as many times as you like, share as many pictures as you like. Don't have to finish. Is there anything else I needed to tell you? Let me just check my notes quickly. I don't think so. I think that's everything. If you're struggling to find what your designer's Instagram name is, you can message me on Instagram, or you can email me and I'll help you out, see what we can find. I've done that for a few people now. Yeah, I think that's everything knitting related. The only other thing I wanted to mention, because I know that the lady concerned watches this, we have had a bit of a change of background, and the tree that Miss Suzette was resting in has been removed, and I'm sorry to say that that's because a certain person was interfering with Miss Suzette. Now, this caused a great deal of distress. Madame Souris tells me that Miss Suzette hasn't been this upset since she was stopped on her way home from a show by an overzealous gendarme who mistook her for a lady of the night because she had not yet removed her stage makeup. On that occasion, Madame tells me, Miss Suzette had to rest in Sweden. I think she said Sweden. Might have been Switzerland. At one of those health clinics for a few weeks for her nerves. We wanted to avoid any of that nonsense. So, the ladies are now safely held within this jar. Madame is keeping a close eye on Miss Suzette in case there are any histrionics. But so far so good. And in case you're worried, there is a hole so they can breathe. No doubt the men in the white coats will be along shortly, either for Miss Suzette or for myself. So, Linda, if you were worried as to where Miss Suzette has gone, that's where she is. And in actual fact, it's better now because I can see her all the while that I'm sat here, whereas before she was behind me. So yes, they're very comfy in their little mouse house. Right, I think that is definitely everything now. I will give you a little look at the sweetness before we go. Hold on. We're going for a little ride. Look at this, look. Doesn't she look adorable? Oh. Right then, I'm definitely going to stop wittering on now. Someone's yelling outside. And I'm going to go and get myself a cup of coffee because I think I've earned it and I need to replace some fluids. This is actually very comfortable. I don't know if you can hear that. I had to pause then because I was listening. But I can't make out what the words are. So I'm going to go and stop being nosy and I will see you next week. So until then, stay safe and happy knitting. Bye.